All right, you're good to go.
Give me 2 seconds. Okay. Welcome to the Eephus, episode 27. I'm your host, Justin Ledger, here with Zach Hummel. Zach, I was just talking to you about this. It seems like every other week is a big week in baseball. We have a dead week, then we have a really busy week. Dead week, busy. This happens to be a busy week. Our first two topics that we're going to get to tonight are Edinson Volquez and Albert Pujols both making history this past week. We'll start with Volquez, which I think was the best story. I love Albert Pujols, but this story altogether, just the way everything played out, was perfect. Edinson Volquez, no hits to the Arizona Diamondbacks. And it wasn't just any old no-hitter either. Sometimes you see no-hitters where it's it's a good performance, but they walk like six guys. They have well over 100 pitches, whatever. In this case, Volquez only threw 98 pitches. And I think he struck out 10, only walked one. So stellar performance by Volquez, who third batter, I think it was the second or third batter of the game, he thought he broke his ankle. So he stayed in the game, and then he just went the distance. Outstanding performance by Volquez. What do you got on this?
Yeah, before I give you my take, I just want to shout out my softball team. First and last Tavern, first place, Glastonbury B League. So
when you're hot, you're hot.
Yeah, we're hot right now. We just mercied a team, so that's good news. On Volquez, I could not think of a more if you were telling me someone was going to throw a no-hitter this season, I would have said Scherzer, Kershaw, Sale. Edinson Volquez, maybe 3 years ago at the Royals, but it's crazy how these no-hitters just come out of nowhere, and it's these guys, these no-name guys. I mean, Volquez, people know who he is, but he's on the back nine of his career, and he played a good D-backs team, a great hitting D-backs team, and he pretty much shut them down. I mean, he did shut them down. So, and I thought it was great how I think it was on Ventura, Yordano Ventura. Obviously, he was close with on the Royals. He sort of dedicated the no-hitter to him, which I thought was great.
It was his birthday, too.
Yeah.
It was Ventura's birthday.
And you had the Jose Fernandez thing. I think Volquez was close with them as well. So it was the perfect storm of him getting a no-hitter and the perfect timing and all that good stuff.
Exactly. I'm not the biggest no-hitter guy. They're impressive, but they've got increasingly less impressive over time. It seems like there's a few of them every year. It's becoming less and less common. But what Volquez did on that stage on Ventura's birthday, just the whole story was amazing. And it like I said before, it was an outstanding performance. It wasn't just a run-of-the-mill no-hitter. So props to Volquez. Really, really great performance. On to the other stories, Albert Pujols, 600 home runs. We weren't sure if he was going to join the club this week. We had him on the topic list the entire week waiting for it to happen. And did it ever? I mean, he hit a grand slam, which is the one way I think every hitter wants to do a milestone like that. It just makes what he did even better. I don't know how to really put it eloquently other than saying Pujols is arguably the best right-handed hitter of all time. I don't know. Pujols in his prime was the most fun baseball player to watch. I know we have Mike Trout, we have Bryce Harper these days, but looking back, Pujols in his prime was unbelievable. Not just a power guy. He hit 360 with an absurd on-base percentage, insane OPS. So congrats to Albert Pujols, and I thought it was cool how they let the fan who caught the ball give it to him right after the game and he gave Pujols a hug. That's something he'll never forget.
Yeah, I'm one of these guys that I'm not an Angels Pujols guy. I think that was one of the stupidest decisions he could have made going to the Angels. He's been irrelevant. You really don't hear about him because the Angels just hasn't been good. But Cardinals Albert Pujols was peak us growing up, power guy. I remember my dad took me and my brother to vacation in Pittsburgh. That's Pittsburgh vacation. Nothing like it. We went to PNC Park. And we were hanging out before the game. And Pujols, they were playing the Cardinals that day. And Pujols came up, signed a baseball for me. The biggest guy I've ever seen in person. His tree trunks for arms. I mean, it was almost like a mythological creature seeing him in person. You're just like, holy shit, Albert Pujols is gigantic. I mean, there were rumors that he was doing steroids. That's not up to me to say that's true. But yeah, congrats to him for getting 600. he's definitely got a couple more years left. He's having a decent season this season, so he can just play DH and sort of rack up those home runs, continuing on in his career.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever been. I might be wrong about this. I don't think that he's ever been mentioned in a report about players using steroids. I think as far as I know, anyways, his record is like squeaky clean, which makes it all the more impressive that he's reached the 600 home run club, because there aren't a lot of guys in that club that you can look at and be like, oh, definitely clean. I mean, of course, you have in the old days, Babe Ruth's in there, you got Hank Aaron in there, whatever. But then you look down the list, and it's guys like Jim Thome, it's guys like A-Rod, guys like that who you're like, yeah, roids. So, I mean, I don't know if Jim Thome did roids either, but look at the size of that guy, and that'll tell you the story.
He did.
But,
sure.
Yeah. So, outstanding accomplishment by Pujols, one of my favorite players of all time. Like you said, he has kind of fallen off the map ever since he joined the Angels, but he got his money. He's had one of the best careers of all time, so props to Pujols. We'll move on to, outside of record-breaking stuff, all that, the best story of the week, Mr. Met. Just throwing that middle finger at the fan. He gave the swift middle finger too, where he turned around quick, did the whole arm thing, threw it up like this, and then just kept walking. The Mets say that they fired the guy. I highly doubt that. I mean, no one would know the difference if he did. I mean, I don't know, but it just seems like stupid to put a statement out like that, like they did. But I thought it was a hysterical story.
Yeah, it's the move you were talking about. Like, I can see a mascot just flinging someone off, but the fact he turned around with some swag and really did it was so perfect. And the Mets are going down the shitter once again, and it just sums up their season, their fan base. That even the mascots, I'm sure some of the players want to flick off the fans because they get booed constantly at home. Great story. And we really don't know. We can't prove that the Mets fired the guy or kept the guy because we really don't know the man behind the mask. But I thought it was one of the funniest moves of the season for sure.
Hilarious. I watched the video 100 times. It's like a 5-second video, so it's one of those videos you can just watch and laugh at over and over and over again. Definitely symbolic of the year the Mets are having, but not just that. It's symbolic of what that franchise has been through for recent memory, I guess you could say. Hilarious stuff. Old story by now. It seems like if it's been 5 days, then it's almost not worth even talking about. But in this case with Mr. Met, it's definitely worth talking about. We'll stick in the NL East here with Bryce Harper. He's in the news again. This time it's because Peter Gammons told, I think it was 670 the score or something. I don't know. It was some radio program. Gammons told them that Harper wants to join the Cubs when he's a free agent. Now, where that came from, I don't know. He didn't really go too far into detail there. But just the thought of Harper calling Wrigley home, wearing a Chicago Cubs uniform, has to scare the shit out of everybody else in the major leagues.
Yeah, he'd hit 1 million home runs there just based on his swing in the ballpark. It's like a Little League field. But, I take this report with a grain of salt just because do you really think baseball's bad boy is leaking secrets to Peter Gammons? Maybe Peter Gammons is tapped in and I just don't know about it. But I feel like Gammons would be one of the last guys on Harper's list to sort of put something out like this. So I'm not sure if this was coming from the Cubs and they've gotten some interest from Harper, but interesting because I think everyone that's a baseball fan has sort of pegged Harper to go to the Yankees once he hits free agency. So having the Cubs there, I'm sure he'll have a lot more suitors, but it would be great to see him in a Cubs uniform. He'd fit really what they're putting together with Bryant, Rizzo, all their young players.
So the thing is, I don't know if he would fit into that team with Bryant because Bryant is still holding back on an extension. He's gonna want the big money, in other words. So the Cubs are gonna have to pay Bryant. Now, could they afford both Bryant and Harper, who how much money he's gonna make when he hits free agency? Them, along with all the other studs that they have on that roster, something's got to give. So that's why I'm not really buying too much into this report. I do like thinking a little bit about what it would be like, though, with all those guys in the same lineup, and that's an all-star team. I mean, that's legitimately an all-star team. The Cubs are terrible right now. You put Harper in that lineup right now, and shit gets really crazy fast. Harper's having a hell of a year, so I could only imagine what he'd be like on the defending world champions team. It's insane. But at the same time, not to interrupt, but at the same exact time, he's on the Nationals, which I think they're like 12 games up in the NL East. It's almost like a Kevin Durant. I wrote a blog on this, and I said it's almost like the Kevin Durant situation. Your situation where you are is good. You're like just 1 or 2 steps away from being a World Series champ, and you're just going to run away and join the defending champs or just join the stacked team. I think it would be almost a cowardly move on Harper's part if he left the Nationals, if he's offered a contract by the Nationals and goes to the Cubs.
Yeah, to your point, I think Harper and Bryant grew up with each other in Las Vegas, so I think they have that connection there. I'm not sure how close they are, but that could be – Bryant could almost be recruiting him. But like you said, I don't know if their salaries match up. But I do think Harper will stay with the Nationals just because he has a really good situation. It's not like he's one of these fledgling stars on a bad team. Like the Nationals are there every year. They just haven't been able to get over the hump. So baseball's not a game where you can dominate either. I mean, the Cubs will need to put a team around him. So it'll be interesting to see once he hits free agency. He's got to be the most coveted free agent maybe ever in Major League Baseball if he hits the free market.
Definitely. That's something – I know we have to wait another year because he just signed a 1-year extension for like $23 million with the Nationals, which, I mean, put that in perspective and think about what he's going to be offered on the free agent market. But yeah, that's what I'm really looking forward to is just seeing what happens around the winter meetings when he's on the market. It's going to be amazing. Another thing that's amazing is Bryce Harper's hair. So we put together our 5 guys with the best hair in the major leagues. I'm interested if we're going to have the same guys because I think there's a very, very good chance that most of them are going to be the same. I'll let you go first.
All right. Do you want me to go through my 5 right now?
Yeah, and I won't tell you if I have the same. I'm just going to do my 5 right after.
All right. My first 2 guys are Mariners. I think they might have the best hair team in Major League Baseball.
Okay. I know exactly who they are, too, and I didn't even put them. All right.
Taylor Motter. Shortstop. He has a smoke girlfriend too. Check that out on the ledge.
Yeah, you can see that there.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they're still together, but I mean, check it out. And Ben Gamel. Ben Gamel is interesting because he was on the Yankees, so he had to be clean shaven, and he's gotten to the Mariners and just let it all hang out.
Good for him, though. Good for him. You know what? I hope Clint Frazier gets traded too, so we could see the same from him.
Yeah, these guys leave the Yankees and they just go crazy. Obviously, I had to keep a Red Sox on the team, Benintendi. I mean, he's got that Italian like flow, just like greasy, but really looks great. Yeah. This is a fucking wild card. Daniel Megadin from the Athletics. I don't even know who this guy is, but he has the best mustache in Major League Baseball.
Oh, I know who it is. Yeah.
He looks like Raleigh.
Yeah, that's an outstanding
mustache. So I mean, mustache, technically hair, so we'll include him there. And then I guess this has been a thing down in Houston. I just haven't been privy to Yuri Gurriel, the Cuban guy that they have. He has an insane haircut, I guess. They did a Yuri Gurriel hair night where they passed out sort of wigs for that, and it was insane. I mean, everyone had it. It's like a mohawk kind of blow dried up. So those are my 5. A good mix of different types of hairs.
I like it. Actually, we didn't have any of the same ones, so I'm pretty happy about that. You went sort of like I went more mainstream with mine, so mine aren't going to be surprises really. You went the alternate route, which I wish I dug deeper so I could have gotten some of those guys. So I have obviously Noah Syndergaard, Thor, just the man. I don't know, long blonde locks, can't get much better than that. Noah Syndergaard. I threw Bryce Harper on here just because I had to. I mean, whatever. If we're making it a thing with 5 all hair guys, Harper's on there. Jason Worth, his teammate, obviously classic do from Jason Worth, aka Jesus. I have Brandon Crawford on there, arguably the most handsome guy in the National League. It's between him and Chris Bryant.
He always has wet hair, Brandon Crawford. It always
something's up there.
It's like when Buchholz used to just like drip his hair.
I was just about to say that. Two different types of wet though. Buchholz was greasy. Crawford looks like he just got out of the shower and just put some product in it.
Exactly.
Then I put Johnny Cueto on there because I mean those dreads, man. Those are something else. They're captivating. Every time he takes them out, they get your full attention. Johnny Cueto, I hope he gets I hope he cuts him off one day, and he'd look like a completely different person, almost like what Andrew McCutchen did on the Pirates when he cut his hair. It was a huge deal.
I don't get how guys play like that. Like that, Cueto's dreads must weigh like 5 pounds, if not.
Oh yeah, they're heavy. They're heavy.
Yeah.
Like they're a problem when he goes about his daily life. But I feel like it's a trademark at that point, so you can't just get rid of them that easy. It's like a huge life decision.
Yeah, especially for Cueto. He seems kind of out there with his Instagram and all his wind up, all that good stuff.
Yeah, he's a character for sure. Another guy who, he followed us on Twitter. We mentioned this last week. Eduardo Rodriguez unfollowed us within probably like 10 seconds. I told him last week, I warned the guy. I said, if you don't follow us, you're going to get cursed. Sure enough, he's out 3 to 4 weeks with a knee injury after a start in which he let up like 7 runs. He got racked. I think trip out of the bullpen?
Yeah, he tripped in the bullpen.
It doesn't get much worse than that. I told you, Eduardo, you're going to get cursed. If you don't follow us, you get cursed. That's what happens. So that isn't just towards Eduardo Rodriguez. That's towards Trevor Story. That's towards anyone we rave about on this show who doesn't follow us. But it's mainly Eduardo because he did, and then he unfollowed, which is one of the most disrespectful things a human can do these days.
Yes, and then like unfollow you after 10 seconds. Like he doesn't even give you a chance. Yeah. And he deserves everything. I'm a Red Sox fan. He deserves it. Like he deserves everything that's coming to him at this point. And it's not coincidence. There's sort of a weird history with us cursing players. So you don't want to be on the the Eephus's bad side.
Yes.
Yeah. You don't want to be on our bad side just because this will happen to you. And this sounds like it's going to be 3 to 4 weeks, but I could see it being worse just because the knee is like, you don't want to mess around with that. So
I could see this being almost a Clay Buchholz situation where it's, oh, he'll be back in a month. Oh, he'll be back in another month. Oh, he'll be back. And then they just keep pushing it back until we're like, okay, I guess he's never coming back. So, Eduardo, we warned you. We don't feel bad. You should have followed us. You can still follow us, and then you will be back in 3 weeks.
You'll be back sooner, yeah, if you follow us.
Yeah, but if you don't, then 60-day DL is in your future. So,
for sure,
just keep that in mind, Eduardo. I mean, it's just a fair warning. I feel like we're being very polite about it, if anything. So, so we got the NBA Finals. The Warriors are just kicking the shit out of the Cleveland Cavaliers. But we're not going to get too far into that. Instead, what we're going to do is incorporate that into making our starting 5 baseball players on a basketball team. So now I'm very curious about this because I think we're going to have 2 of the same guys. I'm looking at my lineup right now. I think 2 of our guys are going to be the same. The rest, I don't know. I can't wait to put my team against your team and have people tell us who they think would win in a pickup basketball game.
Yeah.
I'll go first for this one since you went first for the hair.
All right.
So my point guard, I went like positional too. Like
me too, yeah. Got it.
Oh, and little disclaimer before I start. I was telling you this before we recorded. The pool for, tall, athletic baseball players is not large. So keep that in mind while listening to this. My point guard is Mike Trout. He's 6'2". He can do it all. He's a 5'2" baseball player, so there's no reason to believe he wouldn't be a do-it-all type player on the basketball court. I'm not saying he's going to be, putting up 30 points a game or anything, but he's going to get his team involved. So I think Mike Trout is my point guard. My shooting guard. Now, this was the toughest one by far. For a shooting guard, you want a guy who's going to put up a lot of points. You want a guy who's got size. Doesn't have to be too big, but he has size. It's a little out there that I picked him, but I'm going David Price. He's 6'5". He's a pretty athletic guy. I think he would be pretty good at basketball, and that's not a racist comment. That's just a fact. So, yeah, David Price is my shooting guard. My small forward is Miguel Cabrera. You need you need a veteran on your squad.
He'll be like the Charles Barkley of the league.
Exactly. So he's my small forward.
He's got a big.
He's 6'4".
Yeah.
What's that?
He's got a big behind. He can
box
out.
So he's gonna back you down. He can probably nail shots. I bet Miguel Cabrera has sneaky basketball skill. So he's my small forward. My power forward is Giancarlo Stanton, probably the most athletic player in the major leagues. If you put everything into perspective, he's huge. He can hit the shit out of the ball. He's someone I don't want to face in the low post. So Giancarlo stands my power forward. And lastly, obviously, my center is Aaron Judge, 6'8", guy's enormous. He's gonna out rebound anyone else in baseball. So that's my starting five.
We have two of the same guys for sure.
Okay, I knew it. I figured.
So my point guard, I like to play up tempo when I play basketball. So I don't even care if this guy knows how to dribble. He's just gonna push it up the floor, whether that's be a travel or a double dribble. Billy Hamilton is gonna be my point
I
guard.
almost picked him.
Little undersized, but I don't think anyone can stop him in transition, especially playing against other MLB players who can't move. So shooting guard, I went Mike Trout there. I mean, you have to have him. He's probably the best. I'm guessing the best sort of MLB to NBA player. Can play D, can probably shoot, shut down defender, good team guy. Just can do it all. Sort of like a Klay Thompson type. I vision him. In D. This guy, this guy from the Reds. I guess he played basketball at St. John's, and I had no idea. He averaged like 10 points for them. Amir Garrett. He's been playing absolutely terrible for the Reds. Like he gave up 8 runs in his last start. But he started for St. John's in the NCAA tournament, and I had no idea.
That's interesting. I had no idea either. But that's a sneaky pick right there.
He's my small forward. He's 6'6", so I'm guessing he could play a little bit. He played at St. John's. Obviously, he's picked baseball as his career, so I'm not sure how good he is at basketball.
Right.
But power forward, Aaron Judge. I mean, he could probably play power forward in the NBA based on his size and quickness and ability and athleticism. He's a must pick. And then I like having a tall, guy at the rim that can block shots. So I
think I know.
I just Googled the tallest guy in Major League Baseball right now, and it's this guy from the Angels, Alex Meyer. He's 6'9", 6'9", 200 pounds.
Yeah.
So I'm just looking for him to affect shots. I don't need a lot of skill there. He's an unknown guy, sort of one of those Euro guys that you stash and comes over. So that's my team. I actually would love to see this pickup game play.
I know. I want to see this.
Yeah.
I want to see that so bad. It's funny that you said that because I actually didn't think that's where you were going with your center. I thought you were going to mention the other guy. I think he just got sent down by the Angels or something. He's like 7'1". I forget his name, but he's like 7'1". A 7'1" baseball player. I don't know his name. It's like a weird name. Yeah, so that technically should be everyone's center if you're going to play against other baseball players, but we kind of went the realistic route with this one.
I think we had good size, too, throughout.
That would be a hell of a game. I know we'd have to, replace our duplicates like Judge and Trout, but, I mean, that's a game. That'd be a pretty even – I think my weak spot's David Price. I really don't know how he'd be, but maybe he'd be good. I don't know.
He could be a smooth shooting lefty. You never know.
Right, yeah, you never know.
He might start complaining to the refs, though.
True. He's a sensitive guy. I don't know if I really want him leading my basketball team. He'll have his games, but he's a head case. He's almost like a Draymond, except David Price would be a shooting guard. Draymond's not a shooting guard, but you get the point. So we'll move on to the usual segments. We'll start with Dud of the Week. I'll let you start here.
Yeah, so I knew my Dud of the Week. I think I tweeted out on Wednesday.
I've been waiting all week for this, Zach. I've been waiting all week to hear this. You teased it, and now you better not let me down. I think I know who it is, but I'm not positive.
I think I was watching Red Sox Orioles, and I have this guy on my fantasy team, and this guy is just lost at the dish. Manny Machado, I don't know what is going on with this guy.
It's not where I did not think you were going there with that. So I said on Twitter, I think I know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
That's not who I expected.
Well, let me explain Machado, and then you can tell me who you thought I was going to pick. He's striking out like 4 times a game. Like he struck out 10 times last week. He's hitting 219. I think he's trying to hit too many home runs. That's what I think his issue is. He's pulling the ball a lot, but he's my Dud of the week. I mean, I was going to give him a shot. I was not picking him every week. He's been playing terrible, but this week just put it over the top for me. I mean, he just can't make contact at the dish.
I think it's exactly what you just said about him trying so hard to hit home runs. I think that's exactly the case. I'm not worried about Machado by any means, but that's definitely a dud in the past week or two. The guy who I thought you were going to say is Mike Pelfrey for the White Sox. Because it was during the White Sox-Red Sox game when you tweeted that, and Mike Pelfrey was pitching, and I'm like, oh, it's Mike Pelfrey. It's got to be Mike Pelfrey. That
He would be
guy.
a good pick for the basketball team. He's a big fucking guy.
He's a tall dude. Yeah. So that's another. He might be my bench. One of my bench guys. My dud of the week. So I was torn between two players. Both happen to be Orioles, and neither is Manny Machado. So the bad week for the Orioles.
Yeah, real bad week.
So my real dud of the week is JJ Hardy. This guy. Remember when he used to be good? JJ Hardy used to be. He was good like 6 years ago. He was probably one of the best shortstops in the American League, especially on the defensive end. Now he's not even that great in that aspect. So JJ Hardy, offensively, he's batting .210, 3 homers, 17 RBIs with a 547 OPS. Why is he a starting shortstop right now for the Baltimore Orioles? They can't do any better than that. Just seems a little weird to me. I would even say, like, why don't you just shift Manny Machado to shortstop, and you have to have a better third base option. You just have to. That being the case, JJ Hardy could still figure it out. I don't want to jump the gun like I did with Devin Travis. So I want to send a formal apology to Devin Travis because he sucked for the first month of the season. I called him out, and ever since then, he's been hitting like 3,000 with 75 home runs and 1,000 RBIs. So Devin Travis, I apologize. You proved me wrong. The guy who it was going to be was Kevin Gossman, but he's actually been pretty good in his last couple starts, so I last minute replaced him with JJ Hardy.
This has been a tough week for the Orioles. I don't know how they're over 500. Chris Davis is struggling too. Like, I think they only win by hitting home runs. That's the only way they're winning.
Yep. That's how they win it every year. Their rotation's never good. Their bullpen's always pretty solid, but their lineup wins them games. And there's not many teams in the league where it's their lineup wins them games and their pitching sucks and they still somehow are in the thick of things. The Orioles are that rare team.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
And I'm glad you finally apologized to Devin Travis too.
Yeah.
That was a long time coming.
I know. I forgot to last week. I meant to apologize last week. So Devin Travis, I apologize. I was wrong. So keep proving me wrong in it, because as soon as you start sucking again, I'm gonna make you my dud of the week. So the Devin Travis wash has officially begun. Don't call it a comeback. I'll give mine first. Corey Kluber. He was hurt. He came back. He threw 6 innings, 2 hits, 10 strikeouts, only 1 walk against the Oakland A's on Thursday. So Corey Kluber not having the best season so far, but hopefully for the Indians' sake, he can continue having starts like that.
Yeah, Indians need him as their ace. I picked a pitcher as well. This is taking like a lot of will from me to say this because I hate this guy, but David Price. I mean, I got to hand it to him. Great outing versus the Orioles. His first one versus the White Sox was definitely a little bit shaky, but shutting down one of the best like power offenses in the major leagues in their own ballpark. I got to tip my hat to David Price. What a great comeback from his injury. So props to him.
Are you what's your confidence meter right now? 1 to 10 for David Price as a Red Sox fan?
Based on that last outing, I'd have to be at a 6.5 right now. I'm not ready to like sort of say, oh, he's back as a sort of 1 or 2 ace at this point.
Yeah.
But that versus a team like that on the road, that was actually impressive, I think.
Definitely an impressive start. I want to see one more of those before my confidence meter is high, but I'm going to give mine probably around a 6 or 7, similar to yours. I think he's worth being confident in because he has that winning pedigree. Last year wasn't what Red Sox fans wanted to see, but this season he went out there, like you said, on the road, very impressive start, very gutsy start. So if we see more of that, hopefully Chris Sale ends his slump, and then we have a real 1-2 at the top of that rotation, along with Drew Pomeranz, who was going to be my when you're hot this week, but I replaced him last second too. Drew Pomeranz, if he keeps doing what he's doing, this rotation is scary for the rest of the league.
Yeah, we need Porcello to step it up too. And the huge series coming up with the Yankees. So Price he's going to get trial by fire for sure.
That's going to be an awesome series to watch. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. So we'll move on to When You're Hot, our last segment. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, so this guy, I believe we tweeted his last leadoff home run on the Eephus Twitter account. George Springer,
Yeah.
UConn guy. He is insane right now. I don't think they've ever had a better, more powerful leadoff hitter, maybe in MLB history. Like, this guy is going to put up 35 to 40 home runs this year out of the leadoff spot. This past week, he's hitting 500. He's had 1/3 of his
Casual
hits.
500.
Yeah, 1/3 of his hits were home runs this week, which is insane. He had 15 hits, 5 home runs, 9 RBIs. I almost think that the Astros should move him into a better spot in the lineup so he has more guys on base when he's hitting. But I don't really like the stat in terms of everyone's talking about, oh, George Springer, like, most leadoff home runs. It's like, yeah, they're just putting a home run hitter in the leadoff spot, and he's hitting home runs. So he's not a typical leadoff hitter, but he's doing great for the Astros, who are just running train on every team that they face at this point.
Yeah, I'm kind of a superstitious guy when it comes to baseball, so I almost feel like if you take him out of the leadoff spot, suddenly you won't be getting that production out of him. I'm going back to my glory days right now, but I used to lead off for my baseball team, and if you took me out of the leadoff spot, I was all out of whack. I liked starting off games. I liked, being the first one at the plate to start the game. Play ball. It's like an adrenaline rush. You're starting off the game, and you're like, okay, clean slate, and get my team off to a good start. If you take Springer out of that role, I think it's the same effect. I think Springer's gotten into this role as a leadoff hitter. And I think if you're the manager, it's very tough to take him out of that spot in the lineup. Like, okay, you're succeeding as a leadoff hitter. Let me take you out of that spot. Yeah, I think in this sport, it's a very superstitious sport where you need to sort of just let things take their course. So tricky situation, but I mean, if you're the Astros, you're not panicking. You're 41-16 right now. It's absolutely absurd. If you're a betting man, bet on the Astros because they're winning every game these days.
Yeah, Springer also seems like a guy, to your point, that loves to get his team off to a good start. Like, he loves to just start it off and get the energy going and getting everyone pumped up. So that leadoff spot really does fit him well, his personality.
Absolutely. And by the way, I think, I don't know, it had to have been at least a month ago, but I asked you if it was bold that to say George Springer could be a top 5 AL MVP candidate this year. Now Trout's hurt, so that almost gives him an extra spot to work his way up. George Springer, is it still bold in your opinion? Top 5 AL MVP?
It's getting not to be bold because it's just that the Astros are so good. They're so balanced. Like, it's hard to pinpoint one guy that's really winning games for them because they're blowing teams out. I mean, Altuve, Springer, Gurriel, like, they have all these guys just placed throughout their order. Correa is starting to come on. It's just insane. Like, I don't know how you could pinpoint one guy. It would be tough.
Yeah, that team is absolutely ridiculous. And if teams succeed, you can usually look at that team and be like, okay, who's the MVP? And that guy is usually in the running at the end of the year. So keep an eye out, MVP watch for George Springer. I know it's only June, but the second half is usually a whole different story. It's almost its own season because so many players come out of nowhere. Like last season, second half, for example, Gary Sanchez came out of nowhere and was like unreal. So there could be another guy like that this season who bursts on the scene and takes the spotlight away. My When You're Hot to wrap things up is from the Cincinnati Reds, Zach Cozart. So we had our little trade deadline watch last week. We named a bunch of players who are going to be on the trading block most likely come the end of July. Zach Cozart is a guy we forgot to put in there, but I think that's a guy we should have mentioned. The Reds are probably going to be looking to sell. You can see guys like Cozart on the trading block. Maybe that Scott Schebler guy who has like 17 bombs. I mean, teams are going to be looking for players of Cozart's caliber, guys who can hit homers. So Cozart, the reason he's on this When You're Hot is because, I mean, he's on fire. He might be an all-star this season, and he's batting .344 with 9 homers, 33 RBIs, an OPS over 1,000. So Zach Cozart is one guy who I've always known who he is, and I've always known he's a pretty solid player, but he looks like a star this season. So that's why When You're Hot, you're hot.
Yeah, for sure. He's definitely going to be an all-star. He's having one of those, like, I call it a Jacoby Ellsbury season where he just, like, goes insane, and it's, like, sort of a misnomer based on all of his other seasons. So, yeah, Cozart, some guys are just late bloomers, and that might be what's happening with Cozart. Like, he's just finally figured it out. He always had the potential, but he just never really could. He was sort of a middle of the road player, but this year has been insane for the Reds.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if you can keep that up. I actually liked all of our picks for literally every segment we did. I thought we kind of hit the nail on the head, so to speak, for pretty much everything. Hard to pick better guys for the When You're Hot segment. Hard to pick better guys for our all hair teams and basketball segments. So altogether, thought it was a successful show. Zach, I think that pretty much wraps things up unless you got anything else.
No, definitely a successful show. And tweet us any basketball guys that you think would be good, or any guys that have insane hair that we may have missed.
Yeah, you can do that on Twitter. Follow us at Eephus Pod. We're going to be tweeting out our basketball teams. They're going to be tweeting out our all hair teams. And we want to hear what you have to say. So tweet yours at us, and we will definitely retweet it. Definitely have a little conversation with you on Twitter. So again, you can follow us there at Eephus Pod, and then like us on Facebook because our content is there as well. That's all she wrote. So we will see you guys later.
Peace.